Welcome to the question of the day. Today's question is from Joe in the DC area. So, Joe has a question. How do I sell in such a poor economy? That is a great question. I get that question at least every single day. And I get it. I know why I get that question every day. Like I've seen the news. If you turn the news on or any kind of news podcast, you will absolutely hear about the economy. And so, honestly, I've been getting that question though for years, like probably as long as I've been training and coaching, something to the effect of how do you sell in such a poor economy? So, I've got a couple of thoughts on that. You do see it on the news. And so, one of the things I would recommend is first, stop listening to the news, right? And I don't mean like put your head in the ground and ignore problems around you, because you do want to be aware of the world around you, but you also have to understand news sources, they have to sell news. They have to sell eyeballs or ears that are looking and listening to their product. And so there's a lot of headlines out there. It has to be exciting, and the things that get us most excited in a negative way is doom and gloom, right? So those we as people have negative mindsets. So those are the things we tune in. That's why, like when you watch the news, it's all doom and gloom. There's a war here, people died there, economy this, economy that. And then like the last minute, there's like a feel good segment, like because nobody tunes in for the feel good segment. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. Like stop listening to the news for all of your economic updates, right? They're trying to sell headlines. What you have to do is you have to look for the facts, right? And I'll give you a few examples here. So, one of the people I like looking at is Brian Bolio. So he's the chief economist at ITR Economics. And if you ever watch Brian present, my favorite thing that he does is he puts his report card up right away. So his report card is these certain economic indicators and how he predicted them a year ago versus how they are today. And newsflash, he's accurate. He's like 98, 99% accurate. And so he only looks at the data though, and he'll preach that he doesn't look at the news. He doesn't lean one way politically. None of that factors into their economic forecast. Now, when you talk to Brian Bolio or listen to him speak, he says people are still spending money. Like the economy is good right now. People are still spending money. If you look to other resources, one person I heard speak recently was Ed Bastian, CEO of Delta. And he says the same thing. The economy is strong. In fact, he goes on to say the high end experience is strong. Delta is more of a high end airline. And he says they're doing great. They're doing fantastic. People are spending money on Delta. In fact, the airlines that are struggling right now are the low price airlines, the ones that cut the experience. And you even see airlines like Southwest now that are starting to follow that same playbook. Like Southwest, I just saw a commercial where you can book your own seat. So they're starting to get away from that economy airline and go more for a high end because people are still spending money. Steve Squeary, the CEO of American Express, says the same thing. Economy is good. Credit is good right now. People are still spending money, spending in record levels. So, so these are the types of examples that I look for to determine is the economy doing well or not. But just for a moment, let's say, let's say the economy is bad. Let's say the economy is horrible. The question I would ask you back would be, do you have any control over that? You don't. You have no control over the economy. You are not the president. You are probably not a some kind of politician or lawmaker or large influencer of people that's going to get the economy moving one way or the other. You have no control over how the economy is performing right now. Uh, do you have control over things like prices? So the things you're selling, the price you're asking for that price, that price is a math problem. So you look at like what do the goods cost you? What's your time and labor and what's your markup to make a profit, a healthy profit to stay in business because you have a responsibility to your business and the people that work for you and their families. Like, and so whatever that number is, that's your price, right? Like you can't argue that price. That's just the cost of running a successful business. If you want to run a successful business, you don't have control over that price. And if you do cut that price, well, it's coming out of somewhere and it's coming out of one of those things, right? Your business is not going to be healthy if you're not asking the right price. So, in a sense, no, you don't have control over what that price should be either. So, you don't have control over the economy. You don't have control really of that price that you're asking. The experience, now that's something you have control over. You have control over the experience that you deliver to a customer. So the process that you execute, things like walking in, setting a visual agenda for the customer so they know exactly what to expect and exactly how this works, to deflate that balloon of anxiety and questions that a customer has. You have control over that. You have control over giving a customer choices, giving them options. Nobody likes being railroaded to buy something, but when you have options, when you have choices, they're all great options for somebody. You just got to pick the one that works for you. So when you have choices, when you have options, you have control over that, right? The rapport you build with a customer. So not just talking about the thing that you're selling, but genuinely having a conversation with them, genuinely being curious, asking questions, lifestyle questions, but then also asking questions about the experience they're looking for, and caring, like genuinely caring. People can tell when you're faking it. People can tell when you're just going from step to step to step to sell something versus when you just genuinely care. And then your following through on what you said, over delivering, but under promising, giving that customer an experience. You have complete control over that. History shows us that with the economy, it doesn't hurt the top performers. Even when the economy is down, it doesn't hurt the top performers. They stay in business. They weather through. They may not have record months, record years in those times, but they maintain and they weather through. Now, the reason they do that is because they have strong processes. That makes them resilient to work through those tough times. The companies that are hurt when an economy goes down are those bottom 10% companies, the ones that don't have good processes, the ones that reduce their pricing to try to get some sales. And they got sales, but they weren't profitable. And so they went out of business anyways, hurting all of those families, hurting all of those employees. Those are the companies that get hurt in a tough economic time. So even if we play along and say, yeah, the economy is rough right now, you don't have control over the economy. You don't have control over that price you're asking. You're asking the right price. You have control over that process. And that process, that experience, that's what's going to make you successful in the long term. So control the things that you have control over. Make each tiny piece the best possible that it could be. I listened to Tom Brady speak one time, and he talked about in high school how he wasn't the starting quarterback. He didn't have control over that. He couldn't make himself the starting quarterback. And he had a bad attitude about it, and he was complaining, and his coach pulled him aside. And he said, when you get in there, on that one rep you get in practice, you make it the best damn rep you've ever had in your life. And so Tom Brady started doing that. He went in, and that one rep that he got, he made it the best damn rep ever. And eventually that earned him a second rep. And he made it the best 2 reps ever. And that earned him a 3rd rep, and a 4th rep, and a 5th rep. And you know the rest of the story, right? So whatever you have control over, make those the best damn experience for that customer that you can. And then it doesn't matter. The economy won't hurt you. So that's the question of the day. I'm Coach Chris. If you have a question, reach out to me either on social media or email. I'll put that in the show notes so that you can reach out, submit your question. We'll get it answered on the next podcast. If you're a Nexstar member, schedule a call with me. We can do this one-on-one. We can have a coaching call. We can dive into your challenges, your problems, your issues, and we can figure something out customized to you. I'm Coach Chris. We'll see you tomorrow.